Hi, this is the film The Ugly Stepsister. A poor girl dreams of marrying a prince to escape poverty. To achieve this, she subjects herself to painful beauty procedures, showing no mercy to her own body. The story begins with Elvira daydreaming about the charming Prince Julian. Upon waking up, she travels by carriage with her mother Rebecca and sister Alma to visit Otto, a wealthy man her mother is about to marry. This is how Elvira gains a new stepsister, Agnes. While showing Elvira around the new house, Agnes introduces her to Isaac, the stable boy, saying he's her friend and, in the absence of brothers, could be useful if someone were to get stuck in a chimney. Noticing the royal palace from the bedroom window, Elvira confesses to her new sister that she dreams of marrying the prince. That evening, during a lavish dinner with cake, the newly formed family throws food at each other with careless joy, until Otto suddenly dies at the table, face down in dessert. Elvira tries to console Agnes, but Agnes scornfully pushes her away, refusing to compare the death of her father with the loss of a newly acquired stepfather, a man who only married Rebecca for her money. In a panic, Elvira runs to her mother to tell her that the new husband had no money at all. Opportunistic lawyers who appear like vultures overhear and are quick to claim the estate to pay off debts, not even waiting until the funeral. As they leave, Rebecca faints and collapses. Elvira comforts her, promising to find a solution, like marrying the prince. But Rebecca is not delusional. She dryly reminds her daughter that her face is hardly royal material. While examining herself in the mirror, Elvira pops a zit on her nose. Meanwhile, Agnes is praying beside her father's corpse, asking the heavens for a better fate. Apparently, someone hears her prayers as a royal herald soon arrives with good news. An invitation to a ball at the palace where the prince will choose his bride. Agnes gets the invite, and so does Elvira, her new stepsister. Swept up in dreams of her future wedding, Elvira goes for a consultation with a doctor of aesthetic sciences, who recommends removing her braces and shaving down the bump on her nose to be more competitive among the palace beauties. Her mother agrees to pay double. After the ball, assuming all goes well, the doctor begins the operation. While removing the braces is quick and painless, her nose requires more drastic measures. Hammer and chisel, no anesthesia, only her screams echoing through the room. During the healing period, Elvira is forced to wear a special nose muzzle. In this state, she is sent to Madame Sophie's Royal Etiquette School. There, candidates for the opening dance of the Royal Ball are being selected, including the lead dancer and supporting roles. This is a golden opportunity to be introduced to the prince early on, so all the girls rigorously rehearse their dance routines. Elvira is thrilled until the teacher asks her to switch places with Agnes. And to spare everyone the sight of her face in the muzzle, Elvira is moved to the very back row among the least attractive candidates. At dinner, where Elvira is forced to stick to a strict diet, Agnes brings up the matter of their father's burial. His body is starting to decompose. Rebecca replies that she'll deal with it after the ball, when her daughter becomes the prince's bride. For now, they can't afford such luxuries. She also asks her stepdaughter to share her wardrobe with her new sisters. This is the final straw for Agnes, who storms away from the table. In etiquette class, the girls learn how to curtsy and walk gracefully without bobbing their heads, balancing books on their heads as they march up and down the stairs. When the list of selected performers is posted, they all rush to check. Elvira finds her name at the very bottom, replacing some mysteriously disqualified candidate, but still rejoices at the opportunity. As rehearsals for the featured dance begin, choreographer Madame Vanya demonstrates the steps and asks for volunteers. Elvira raises her hand along with the others, provoking laughter from the instructor. Vanya allows the ugly duckling to ruin the swan's part, then tells her that while she has some talent, she'll need to work much harder. She only got in because her mother paid for it. Fighting back tears of disappointment, Elvira watches as Agnes performs the lead. Meanwhile, it turns out that the ball gown is too small for Elvira. The diet isn't working. She's been secretly eating pastries at night. She complains to Madame Sophie about her looks, but the teacher inspecting the healing nose commends her for her bravery in changing her appearance. To help, she gives Elvira something in a small case. During a picnic in the woods with her sister, Elvira reveals to Alma what's inside the case, a tapeworm egg. She plans to swallow it without telling their mother. That way she can eat as much as she wants and feed the worm instead of herself. After the wedding to the prince, she intends to get rid of the parasite using an antidote. Alma thinks this has gone way too far, and the sisters argue. But driven by the hope of a better life and a dream of pure and eternal love, Elvira swallows the egg. Suddenly a shot bird drops near them. Elvira hears voices, hunters. It turns out to be the prince and his friends. His Royal Highness is peeing in the bushes, his bare bottom catching the light. The group of men spots Elvira and in crude fashion makes her elude proposal. The prince, however, scoffs, saying he wouldn't climb on that. Embarrassed, Elvira runs off, but secretly continues spying on the man of her dreams. As night falls, she returns home and finds her stepsister Agnes in the stables, entangled in passion with Isaac the stable boy. When Rebecca finds out, she calls her stepdaughter a shameless tramp, demotes her to maid status, and kicks Isaac out. Pleased to have removed a rival, Elvira happily munches on sweets, feeding the parasite growing inside her. 3 full moons pass, and the date of the ball draws near. Rebecca removes Elvira's nose muzzle. Her new nose has healed, and thanks to the worm, she's slimmed down too. Agnes, meanwhile, continues working tirelessly, but the cosmetic procedures don't stop. Dr. Estetic numbs the area around Elvira's eyes with a cocaine leaf-based formula, then sews lush new eyelashes onto her eyelids. That night, amid thunder and lightning, with her eyes still healing, Elvira suffers from the wriggling tapeworm inside her. She stumbles into the kitchen in the dark, hoping to feed the worm. There, Agnes finds her, and pitying her suffering stepsister, helps her eat. Alma hears Elvira groaning through the night and notices a bloodstain on the sheets. She's gotten her first period, which means, of course, that their mother will now begin searching for a profitable match for her too. Considering what her older sister is going through, it's not exactly thrilling news. During a rehearsal, it's revealed that Agnes will not be able to perform as the lead dancer at the ball. Madame Vanya needs a replacement, and after reviewing the candidates, she selects Elvira, who has undergone significant enhancements. One evening, while taking a bath and eating spaghetti at the same time, Elvira is unaware that Agnes notices her sister's hair falling out. It's the result of vitamin deficiency. The worm is devouring her nutrients. Rebecca brings in a tailor who presents Elvira with a ball gown and introduces himself as the fairy godmother. When he asks Agnes to help Elvira get dressed, he suddenly notices Cinderella, and she spits in his face, only arousing his interest further. Seeing Elvira's thinning hair, the tailor offers a wig to cover what's starting to resemble Jason Statham's haircut. Later that night, after a dessert binge on the stairs, Elvira sees that Agnes has secretly stashed away her own gown for the ball. Not wanting to face competition, Elvira lunges at her and rips the dress to shreds. Rebecca hears the noise, rushes in, and puts Elvira to bed with a dose of opium. Meanwhile, Cinderella weeps beside her father's unburied body. That night, she dreams of her late mother, who tells her that grave worms have sewn her a new dress, that the glass slippers are hidden in her hem, and reminds her that when the clock strikes midnight, her carriage will turn back into a pumpkin. While preparing for the ball, Elvira is less concerned with her looks than with how suspiciously content Agnes seems despite everything. Nevertheless, at dusk, a carriage carries her and her mother off to the prince's castle. The royal chamberlain announces each guest to Prince Julian and his father, listing their height, age, preferences, and other details. The courtiers ogle the young ladies with hungry eyes, making crude comments. After the guests are introduced, it's time for the dancing. Madame Sophie's pupils proudly demonstrate what they've learned at the Institute for Proper Young Ladies. At the center of attention is Elvira. She even has her own solo performance with backup dancers. When the formal program ends, Rebecca proudly tells her daughter that suitors are lining up for a dance with her. As Prince Julian prepares to open the ball, he walks past the lineup of candidates and chooses the one at the very end, Elvira. Barely believing her luck, Elvira dances with the man of her dreams, setting an example for the other couples. But the celebration is interrupted by the appearance of a mysterious woman in a blue gown and a veil. The prince's attention instantly shifts to her, much to the disappointment of his former favorite. The heartbreak triggers Elvira's tapeworm, and she runs off to hide from prying eyes. In one of the palace rooms, she vomits on the carefully placed cloths, along with a few fresh tapeworm eggs. When her mother finds her, the panicked girl cries that she's dying. But ever-pragmatic Rebecca reminds her that there are plenty of other rich men out there. And to bring her daughter back to her senses, she slaps her across the face. Back in the ballroom, Elvira resumes waltzing diligently, switching between suitors while stealing glances at the prince. As another dance ends in a deep bow, Elvira finally sees what's under the mysterious woman's veil. Agnes. Realizing her disguise has been exposed, Agnes stumbles in her heels and flees the hall. The prince runs after her, but all he finds is a glass slipper. Holding it up, he declares, "Whoever has the other shoe and fits this one shall be my bride." Elvira, wielding a cleaver, threatens Agnes and demands the second slipper. A fight breaks out between the sisters, escalating to the second floor, right outside Rebecca's bedroom. The mother yells at them to quiet down because she's entertaining a very important guest, one who could determine their future. Elvira screams that Agnes stole the prince from her, but Rebecca doesn't care and tells her to go to bed. After snatching the second slipper, Elvira finds no peace. It's too small for her. Realizing her paws will never fit a princess's shoe, she grabs the cleaver again and, eyeing the dimensions, begins her own surgical procedure, cutting off the excess. Alma rushes in at her screams, followed by their mother and her lover, who promptly faints at the sight. Rebecca, after giving Elvira another dose of opium, suddenly notices the girl cut off the wrong toes. The prince's slipper was for the left foot. Alma pleads for mercy, but Rebecca is resolute in her quest to marry off her daughter. She finishes what was started and slices the toes off the other foot herself. In a drugged stupor, Elvira dreams of the prince fitting her foot with the glass slipper and calling her his bride. But when she wakes up, all she sees are two bloody stumps. When the prince arrives for the official fitting, she drags herself to the stairs, pushing through the pain, and tumbles all the way down. There, Agnes finds her. Saying nothing, she walks out to meet the prince. Lying on the floor, powerless, Elvira hears the same words from her dream, but they're spoken to her despised Cinderella sister. As the new couple kisses on the palace steps, Elvira weeps from helplessness and self-pity. So much pain, blood, tears, and effort sacrificed on the altar of beauty, all for nothing. The prince chose someone else. Alma finds her sister on the floor and says they need to start with the most important thing, removing the worm. She gives Elvira the antidote, which makes her vomit. The parasite slowly slithers out of her mouth, just enough to be grabbed. Alma pulls it out, horrified by its length, something you wouldn't even want to use for fishing. When it's finally all out, Alma slices it in half like a symbolic umbilical cord, the one that tied Elvira to their mother's toxic beauty obsession. Alma then sneaks into her mother's room, steals some jewelry, and helps her sister downstairs. The two girls climb onto a horse and ride away, hoping to escape the kingdom before Cinderella becomes a princess and returns to reclaim the house. The very same house where their father's corpse still lies, rotting and unburied. And that's where the movie ends. Hey, don't just scroll. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button.